What's going down, Avengers? It's finally time to assemble under Wakanda's DLC. Yes, it is live. For the last 2 hours, you should have been able to have downloaded this initiation of content. My name is Mac here at the MacGyver7 channel, and today we'll be looking at the Avengers 1.46 that rolls out for majority of consoles, as well as the next gens that are going to be sliding in some pretty sweet portions. This is going to be a very long patch note, so get ready, get excited. If you're newer to the network, slam that subscription button and accompany it with the notification bell, and let's go ahead and scroll into it. Now, two things to point out. I've noticed that that the next generation consoles are a lot less space intensive versus right there where you can see that's almost twice the size on the PlayStation 4. So gen to gen, you are going to experience, make sure you clear up some drive in order for that install, so that way you can get to the brand new content, because yes, there is brand new content in this, which is amazing. Now we can see that there's going to be grouped with newer heroes, newer enemies, on top of what's going to happen down to the mines and the jungles of Wakanda, a UI overhaul, and so much more you're going to be able to see inside of this update. As we drink in what's happening over here, you can see that they wish everyone a happy War for Wakanda week, as it is the beginning of the fight of taking back the kingdom, which is very awesome because the story and the world are going to be grouped in with what is happening at the war table. So you can venture over there in order to see what's going down, and you can see that this fleet will span through a whole bunch of missions. Roughly about 20 hours is what they've said, but for most power gamers, you're going to run through a lot of cool stuff very fast, I would assume. So you can see that it breaks out over here for as far as the gameplay. You can see some stuff that goes down to some signature attacks. You're going to get like out of sight, pounce. I mean, there's just so many awesome options nowadays. Just get to the battlefield, start downloading this for as far as what's going to be linked in. Now this article will be linked and described down below for most people that want to explore what is going to be the fine details, but I have a feeling everyone's going to be running to the battlefield to experience this with newer enemies and taking on. Now for as far as the UI update, it's also dropping in for the update that's going to follow in suit. They like to do that usually one day after another. Now they do find detail for as far as what is going to be coming out, and we will be taking a brief look at that as well. Right now what they're doing is the bigger chunk of just installing the Black Panther update with the Wakanda expansion, and this is where we're at. Now the marketplace did come into some like stuff that's going down to the pew and its adjustment. You can also see that the marketplace has released that of the War of Wakanda. We've temporarily reduced some of the prices on the outfits, which is pretty cool for legendaries, on top of the gift launches. And you can see that there are some more cosmetics that are themed around this Wakanda expansion. Now you can see that the protection in bundles, as well as the Captain America and the ironic outfit, you can see no longer is just that iconic outfit. The stars are pointing the right direction, and I know that was a bad bug that they had in a few patches ago. So at this point in time, we can scroll over and we can see exactly what's happening with the newer patch, with some of the newer UI buffs out. As you can see that there's going to be a better way to expand into that. Now again, this is probably going to be something that's accompanying directly for tomorrow as they bridge to updates, because they want you playing this game, not waiting to download it. Now for as far as the newer patch notes that are going to be going live as of today, and if not in the company portion of tomorrow, they'll be tethered into this. You can see that there's tons of stuff from the War of Wakanda, which we've already explained, our newer hero that's finally joined the team. We can see that now the outpost inside of the royal place is now accessible. The newer enemies, we can see that there is a lot of events and the UI update that they had talked about. Now all these are going to be inside of finer details directly right over here, where you can actually transfer gears down to a lot of like enjoyable factoids that I feel like should have been polished over in the very beginning. Now you can see that the Reassemble campaign and the Avengers initiative definitely get some TLC, as we're looking at a ton of fixes from anywhere from the Anthill down to Iron Man, You can see the harm room getting some like nice touch-ups. The mayhem on Manhattan also getting stuff, and it's like a lot of just mission. So definitely, if you've been afflicted by a lot of these and you're wondering, hey, when is this ever gonna get fixed, check the list as we slide down to the multiplayer and matchmaking. Now you can see that for as far as the multiplayer failing, it's hopefully not going to do that any more times. Now you can try, if situations do occur, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what the community has to show and the current bugs and problems that are plaguing the platform of the Marvel's Avengers nowadays. Now, when moving on past that, we can see that there are some times where they run out inside of the Tachyon Rift. You can see the accepting and strike team and invite. Those situations have finally been polished up over the heroic gauntlets. Now you can complete with that strike team, and fixed issues where players were in a infinity loop for as far as trying to get inside of a strike team where you couldn't get there. Now, arts and animations has a huge list down from Kate to Thor. You can see tons of just basically, we are trying to make this game look really great. Now, definitely take a look at that, because there are some PC specific ones right over here for the NVIDIA cards, which I was hoping that most people would be very happy for. You can see that it's finally a developer taking responsibility inside of there. And again, you can see them over here, and you can download the latest driver to make sure that you do have these fixes that are accompanying with it. Now, for as far as the user interface, which I think is the most important part of this update, because a lot of people have been like, hey, like we've seen some stuff, but the main points and bullet points is the locking, dismantling inside of the mass dismantle, the transfer, the mass transferring the items to the locker, holding the actions for the dismantling and transferring the items in a row without having to mark each one. Very convenient in time. For as far as accessing the locker in the menu to move things back and forth, quick tabbing, so you can go between the slots and the cursor to keep stuff highlighted. Also, you can have pinned gear inside of the compared portions and options, and tabbing between slots. Pinned portions also for between other needs, the needing and stats. D-pad inside of the usability through the character menu. Now you can see that it also comes down to some other stuff besides just the user interface that is getting the biggest overhaul. You can see that the Quinjet also gets some portions for as far as selecting certain missions. You can see that the players, for as far as utilizing LB and RB on the controllers to navigate inside of the marketplace tab, have been fixed. Issues with the mouse for as far as photo mode, now you can actually utilize the right click. And the mouse also comes down to another photo mode for pressing the A and D for as far as the portion of camera not utilization. Mouse continues for as far as the heroes and fly, where they kind of move out the jitters and smooth out. They addressed some UIs that prevented the characters inside of the revival, and on top of that, for as far as the catalyst inside of the heroes, you can see that the right as an other expires, it no longer appears inside of that green. And the issues for as far as the main menu, where a lot of people are getting to that, it has the proper hexes now. And you can see that the completing the mission link for as far as a new hero available in the UI Hulk now properly appears in front of everything. So it's not just like this hidden Hulk, invisible Hulk. But moving on past that, we can see the mission titles in the descriptions no longer appear in English if selected language inside of Latin American. And you can see that the fixed an issue where it came down to the portion of accepting an invite when the player is moving through the UI. PC also comes down to the point of pressing escape when the companion and the preference and the heroes. Also on top of the after the launch of the mission, switching to another application, and game get a little bit locked up. Now there is some pretty cool combat that we can see that comes down to a nice polish up for as far as the quantum optimization for Kate. You can see it also comes down to some damage and some energy for as far as what she'll be gaining, and the proper grab on the ledges for her on the warped arrows. The quantum pulse and Kate again for as far as her overdrive, and then Hawkeye finally comes down to some focus skills, some endurance skills for as far as that overcharge, and you can look at it locked on by 2 seconds. Now the Hulk inside of the thunderclap and the damage for as far as the Nexus mission has been polished, and you can see that Kate yet again get some fixes later on down the road as the proper yellow attacks inside of the elite synthoids, as well as the arc and lift skill, the functionally coming down to successful parries, which is important because I do grade games on that a lot, and I feel like that's the one weak suit that they have, which is really a bummer for most people that have experience in gaming. And you know, it's not just you. Sometimes these games are just not polished out with the parry system. It's not like old school games that were just like, we didn't have internet, we didn't have patches, they were just given to you complete, or they were written down in history as a broken game, which was kind of like how E.T. got buried in a desert. But moving on past that, you can see that you can have the Hulk no longer interrupted for as far as the strange hold on the unblockable attack. As you can see, the accessible portion of the Omega level and the family reunion. You can see the retroactive gear coming down to it as we scroll down and see that there are a ton of reward and gear challenges that are going to be worked over. And I would definitely like to bring a lot of attention to where the shield, where you can see a lot of different portions for the following gears and the names. You can also see that a ton of fixes right over here from the certain characters, from the portions of Captain America and the Iron Gloves down to the portion of, again, where the Super Soldier family comes into it, and the Rampant of a Nomad. Hulk also gets some fixes for as far as some damaging potentials inside of the World Breaker set. And you can see some other portions for like other characters as it filters in. Now, known issues that are still out there that most people will still have to prevalently try to get around until the next patch that rolls out is in your consumption. Now, they do already have a fix, hopefully in the wind, for the car challenge. Since this is a new one, I definitely understand. It's nice to see that they tested it out and they let the community know for as far as, hey, you know, we get it. As well as if you see the end game, which they are pushing nowadays on their network, as you can kind of see, where is it? Rats. As I come around finally, they are now selling an end game edition where you can play, everything is digitally included. It's roughly, I believe, like I think $59.99, but it comes with a whole bunch of like cool add-ons, mainly flare. You know, like the DLC is just one of those cool things that's just given. So at this point in time, everyone, get out there and go play this game. Leave a comment down below of how exciting this is. I know this is going to be a huge install for most people that are in the last generation, but it's not as big for as far as the next generation. Now, there will be more than likely a patch for tomorrow, and I will be covering that, but a majority of that's going to be probably marketplace rebuff up, as well as the accompanying tethering to what we kind of went over for the UI that they said that they're going to be tethering in. So majority of this update right now for the 1.46 for a lot of people that are installing it is literally just trying to get the work of the new DLC of Wakanda. So have fun, everyone. I'm super excited they finally added this. I can't wait for them to add more down the road. I mean, now that we've finally got Black Panther, now we're going to get Spider-Man hopefully later on, and who knows where this will go. Leave a comment down below what you'd like to see in the near future, and if you're newer to the network, don't forget to hit the subscription button, and I will see you guys and gals in the near future.